Welcome back to another episode of Light Between Us. This is a podcast with no rules, no boundaries, and absolutely no expectations. It just is. These are unscripted conversations with those I have real relationships with. This is not an interview or an informational podcast, but a podcast of witness to the living example of healing through relation 2 by 2. This podcast is a space for us to meet fully in the present and to allow the miracles, the love, and the light to shine through. And a reminder, we do not wake up alone. We remember the truth together, 2 by 2, as the light reveals itself in the space between us. Here we are again, friends, and today is a super special episode, one I have been waiting for so long, and I am so excited, and it is a longer one, but I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Listen to it through the end. You can put it on a higher speed, probably. I do that often, and sometimes I question, why do I do that? But we don't care. Whatever you need to do, I promise you it will be worth it to listen to the end. But the specialness of today, every day is special. We're all special. But the difference of today's conversation versus other conversations is, no, it is not scripted, but it has a purpose, a theme that is kind of the overarching that allows us to the space of the miracles and the light and love to come through. And that is a book club discussion, we will call it, of Theo of Golden. If you listen to Light Between Us at all, this is not the first time I have mentioned this book, nor will it ever be the last time. This is the best book I have ever read. And I've said before, not necessarily because of the way it's written or, the logistical pieces. I'm not an expert at that, but of the impact and how I felt at the end. One thing I will tell you is joy. Well, let me tell you, it's not just me and another person. It's not just me. It's 3 of us today, which is so beautiful. This week is Holy Week, mind you. Today is Wednesday, the day that Judas, went behind Jesus's back and was, quote unquote, unfaithful to him, or whatever you would like to say. So that's interesting. And we cover how that kind of wraps into the book as well, and how Theo kind of myth busts that for us, in the concept of people being bad. But it is me, Julie, and Joy. Julie, Joy, and I have a discussion about Theo of Golden. First of all, Julie is the one who brought the book to me, and then I am the one who brought the book to Joy. And you will hear that there was a much deeper connection even prior when it came to books. So it is just such a beautiful conversation packed. Theo of Golden is a book that truly was written through. I believe this is a book that, I know Alan says he wrote it for Jesus, but I think it was for in the manner of he allowed himself to be the vessel for Jesus to bring this book to us, to help us to see the ability of us all, no matter what, to see true forgiveness and action, to see deeper love, to truly be seen. And so I could go on forever, but we do for at least, almost 2 hours. We get to share with you what characters we felt the most connection to, what resonated the most, some quotes within the book that are just mind-blowing, and a point in the story when it just completely turns and you're like, oh my gosh, because you are so overwhelmed. So if you have not read the book yet and you are a person that does not want to know anything about a book prior to reading it and you plan to read it, this is your opportunity to press pause and put this on your watch later list and come back after you have read it. Now, if you've already read it or you are completely open to spoilers, then please continue on and listen in, because it's a powerful conversation today, and I am just so stinking happy that we got to have it. And I am so grateful for Alan Levy for being the channel, being the vessel, allowing himself to be written through, and for him writing this for Jesus. All right, so much love. Do all the things, like, subscribe, but most of all, we ask you to comment below in regards to how this book impacted you, what came of it for you, because we're curious. Not everybody's going to have the same response. And we would love to hear what yours is. So much love. All right, well, here we are. I am so excited because we have talked about this, at least in the last 2 recordings with you, Joy, with you, Julie, of finally doing a book club. So if you're tuning in, we are going to talk all things Theo of Golden by Alan. I don't know if it's Levy. I think it's Levy from what I've heard, although it's spelled like Levi. And so if you're tuning in and you don't want to know what happens in the book until after you've read the book, you probably should just hit stop right now because I'm not going to hold back. And I don't want you guys to hold back because I feel like it's hard when you're trying to wrangle that. So, this book is, I don't even know where to start. This book, I would say, is the best book I've ever read.
Wow. It's so amazing. I love that.
Can I start by saying I love the beauty of how it all came to be. Julie sending you the book, you sending me the book. It's so in line with the gifting of the book.
With the actual book.
Yeah.
Because it came to you, Julie, you share. You're like the cog that started the wheel or whatever. I don't know what the saying is. That I made it up.
I think that's it. I don't know what the saying is either. But I'd love to share. And I was thinking, I just was getting ready and I was like, so I live in Oxford, England, and I have a pub that is on the street where I live. And the woman who owns it, her name is Debbie. And this is how the book came to us. Which was, I was over there one day reading a book that my friend Cease gave me. And I finished the book, The Midnight Bookshop. And I was like, Debbie, here, have this book. Please give it to Yanela, who was one of the lovely people that works there. And she's like, oh my God, I just heard about this book called Theo of Golden. Somebody told me it changed her life. And I said, oh my God, great. I just, I'm done with this book, so let's move on to something else. So that's how it came to me, was Debbie at Rose and Crown shared it with me. And I went and looked it up and I was like, cool, that sounds good. So here we are.
I love the name of the pub.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. No, I wanted to tell the short version before. I don't want to take I don't want to take up too much time about it, but I think that was like such a good way of having a book come into your mind and your awareness. And a lot of times people tell us, oh, this book changed my life and I don't, whatever. But truly, I looked at, and again, I had no attachment to it at all. I was like, okay, good. You really love, or this person told you that she loved this book and it changed her life. And I was like, great. And so, I got it. And there's more to that story, but we'll continue. We'll continue telling it.
Yeah. Well, I want you to continue. I want to
okay.
Yeah, I want to know how we even got this book because this is not a book that you share. I want to know because
I'll keep going. Okay, so I had a call with my friend Jenny Dimitri. That's not her last name, but it was her last name, her maiden name. Anyway, I had a call with her 2 or 3 weeks after that, and I haven't spoken to her. This is a friend from grade school who I'm still in touch with, and we just haven't spoken. I'm in Oxford, and just life has moved us on. Anyway, I had a call with her, and she's a big reader, and she was sharing with me about a book that she was reading and in love with, and I said, this, I told her the story about Debbie and the Rose and Crown, and I said, well, she recommended Theo of Golden. She goes, oh my God, yes, I've heard of Theo of Golden. You have to read it. And she hadn't read it yet. She's like, it's on my list. And I said, okay, fantastic. So here we go. That's number 2, right? That was number 1, number 2. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm on it. So with Jenny's recommendation, I got it and I started reading it or listening to it. And I read the first, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 chapters. And it was right a couple days after Ashley and I are in a group that she organizes called Lighthouse, which is a coaching mastermind group. And it just like the chapters just spoke to me, and it was something that Ashley had talked about her business and why she started her business and what some things she wanted to do with her business, which was share joy and love. And you know, I she can tell you more if that comes up. But anyway, it just like hit me. I was like, oh God, this is so up Ashley's alley. I'm like, she's gonna want to read this. So I looked into, she's in Spokane, Washington, which is a new city for her. And I was like, I want to send her the book. And I thought, well, I don't want to just like order it on Amazon. I actually want her to have like an experience around it. So I looked up a bookstore and something local, and I was able to order the book as a gift and then sent her the information, and so she could go pick it up. So that's kind of how it got into Ashley's hands.
Yeah. And that day, I feel like there was some like heaviness. And I know like you, like we all kind of have this connection together. I know Joy, you send things to Julie exactly when she needed them, and Julie sends things to me. And so you messaged me and you're like, hey, go to this bookstore. There's something waiting for you. You didn't even say it was a book. And so I didn't really know for sure what was going to be there. And I was so excited. Like I got ready. I wore my yellow coat I had thrifted recently. Like I was like so excited to go to this bookstore. Because the other thing is, it's called Auntie Annie's, I think. Auntie Anne's. Anyway, it's a... Yeah. I was going to try to... I have the receipt right here. Anyway, it's a really famous bookstore in town. And it's really cool. And it's just a really cool place to go. And so I was so excited to go there. And I show up and I'm like, oh, what is this? And like they hand me this. I was like, okay, like, do you know anything about this book? Like... This is from my friend, and they're like, it was in the Christian section, and I think it was a bestseller back in the day or something. And these are people, like, it is one of those bookstores that every row you go down, there's like hundreds of note cards because the employees have written to you, like, I love this book because of this. So it's a very interactive bookstore. This isn't Barnes & Noble where, I love Barnes & Noble, don't get me wrong, but this is a very, like, individualized bookstore. So I was like, and Julie had just started Oxford back at college, and she was doing a transcendental psychology class. And I was like, I said to them, I literally said, oh, my friend just started this transcendental psychology class. It must be a book she found in there that she liked. And I was like, okay. And I get home, I had to finish a book that day and maybe later in the day. And when I started it, I was like, tears were just flowing. My heart was just like, oh my goodness, this is like everything. Because what you said, Julie, about like my business, it was like this extra piece where I wanted to send unicorn horns to all these people. And there was a statement of we're all magical and all this stuff. And then now we have the Etsy shop that essentially I write a story that instills remembrance of truth within with each item. And so the real purpose of that, all of those things, is I had this deep yearning to see people for who, like, to gift people with the opportunity to see themselves the way I see them when I see them from Christ's light, see them as the true light that they are, and to remind them of that. And literally that's what Theo does. Like in the entire book. He is just like truly seeing people and giving them the opportunity to look through his eyes, which I really believe he's just being a vessel for God in this book, a vessel to share truth. And I think like the way the book was written is the same thing as well. Like I haven't watched a lot about, he's done some interviews, the author, but one of the biggest things was that he said his niece or whatever asked him, how do we know that we're successful? And he was like, well, we already are, because when I die, I'm taking this to Jesus because I wrote it for Jesus. And I was thinking earlier today, and I was like, no, that might be what it feels like. Like you wrote it to give to him, but you wrote it for him, I believe, in the other aspect, as a vessel. Like Jesus moved through Alan to write this book. So like he wrote for him in that manner to reach people, because at least for me, and I know other people have been touched, you know, in all different ways. For me, it was validation of something strongly on my heart, but then in the process, the characters he interacted with provided more and more release for me in like maybe past lives. I don't know, but yeah, I you know, with the people talk about like channeled work and things like that. This really felt like one of those. This felt like something, at least for me, something that was so much bigger than just, I don't want to diminish other books, but do you know what I mean? Like it was just so magical. So I devoured the dang thing. And the second I finished it, I was like, if I had $1 million, I would literally buy it for everyone. Like I said to Pat, I was like, oh my gosh, we should buy this. And every time someone buys an item from Etsy shop, we'll send them one. And he's like, you know how much a book is? And he's like, he's like
the shipping.
Yeah.
The shipping
and
alone.
the shipping. Yeah, and the weight. He's like, so someone's buying a $10 item from us and we're spending like $40.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful idea and gesture, and it's exactly what I was saying about your business and your share about what you wanted to offer to people, which was this connection of obviously love, and we'll talk more about the details. But I did want to say, you know, I think it's so interesting to think about the fact that I'm going to ask you, Ashley, how many books have I sent you? In 3 years that I've known you, how many books have I sent you?
Oh, you gave me one other book.
One?
The Time. Yeah.
Actually, no, well, that from class, but also any of the books I gave you, actually, I did give you some books when I moved.
A big box
But
of
they were
books.
from Joy. They were all the books I gave you were from Joy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
Joy gave me, when I...
That's
Joy
what got me
gave-
back into reading. And remember,
Yeah.
I read a book about dolphins, and then I told Julie,
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I want to read like fiction books again, and she gave me this whole box of fiction
Joy,
books.
when I saw you, one of the times I was to your home, and you've given me books many times that I've visited you. And what's the name? Taylor Jenkins. One of the
Taylor
I had
Jenkins Reid.
several books from Joy. I had several books. Like, I'm not kidding. Like 6, 7, 8 books that Joy gave me. Maybe even the last time I went when the hurricane happened 1.5 years ago. And I passed or it was before that, but I passed those on to Ashley. So anyway, I just wanted to say, I haven't intentionally like picked out
a book. Yeah.
and given it to you except for this one in 3 years.
That's true.
I haven't. This is the first
I
one.
love that, just the sharing, just because when you just said that, I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't even remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it's just such a gift, and to share
It
and to
is.
spread. It's all about,
Yeah.
and I hate spreading joy, but it is. It's about spreading joy, and what speaks to me might speak to you. And like, you know, Ashley so well, you're like, this will speak to her. She will enjoy this. That's the special part, I think, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think the interconnectedness, I know the first episode I did with you, Joy, we talked about like how we had never met. That was literally the first time we had ever met because of Julie. I mean, like Joy is talked about like another person in the room, you know, so it was like you were already a part of it. But then to hear this, like even before that, like my like dive back into reading that eventually led me to this book ultimately, right? Like in many other books were actually books that came from you, Joy. Like I touched, you know, like
They were.
like I sat with them on my
were.
couch. Like that was so cool. The interconnectedness.
It is really cool. Yeah.
And that's
So tell how Joy got the book.
Yeah, so I finished the book and I had that grand idea of sending it to everyone, but we don't have enough money, right? So like, that was out of the option. But my mind was still like, whatever, I feel guided. And I was like, immediately Patrick's mom. Patrick's mom is filled with so much faith. She's such a wonderful woman. She reads so many books to the point that they only can buy hardcover books because they've read every other book. She goes to Barnes & Noble. I don't even know how much she spends when she goes to Barnes & Noble because hardcover books aren't cheap. Yeah. And she's such a woman of faith that if a book has cuss words, she will go in and black them out before she reads the book. Like, she's just so wonderful, so wonderful. But I was like, Anne has got, if she hasn't already read this book, which I was almost 100% sure she had already read it because she's read everything. So I immediately sent it to Anne, and then my mind just started going. And Amazon and then it was like, cease, and anybody who's been on my podcast. And then I started thinking about people that like I've interacted with, and I was like, this person. By the end of the day, by the end of the day, I had sent 11 copies to 11 different people. I was like, how much money have you spent? I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just flow. Like, it'll figure itself out in the end.
Yeah.
And so, and then it was also a learning opportunity for me too, because I, as well, when I get so excited about things, I feel like everybody should be that excited about things. And Pat's like, it might not resonate with people the same way it resonated with you. And then Julie said to me, because before I sent it to you guys, I asked Julie, I was like, do you know if Cease has read this or Joy has read this? And she's like, well, I know Cease has. And she goes, I'll do some recon for you with Joy because I'm talking to her. So she asked you and you guys talked. But she said something which I had already thought, because I had already planned to send it back to Julie. And I was like, because she can just gift it for someone. And so she said, well, but Cease, you can send it to her and she can pay it forward. And so when Pat said that, it activated what Julie had said to me. And I was like, yeah, maybe some of those people won't read it, but it was meant to, like, I have a friend in Canada I sent it to. Maybe if he doesn't read it, he'll donate it to the store that it's meant to get into the hands it needs to. So I just had faith at that point that, okay, Ash, you're excited. Doesn't mean everyone's going to actually read this book. You just are feeling called to plant these seeds in these areas, and it's not up to you who reads them or receives them.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. And I know this isn't about Theo of Golden, but I have a little side note. When I was diagnosed, a friend of mine gave me a little book called Jesus Listens by Sarah Young. And she said, a friend of mine gave this to me when I was going through my divorce, and it got me through a tough time. Just like you had the reaction with Theo of Golden. It's a devotional, so it's just a daily. The very first day I read, January 1st, I was bawling because it spoke to me like you can't believe. And it was the physical copy she gave me. And then when my girlfriend was going through a tough time last fall, I took that same book and I gave it to her, but I wrote on the inside of the cover, from Ashley to Joy, from Joy to my friend, and just a little snippet of a story in the beginning, like if somebody were to open it up, so that way my friend could give it to someone else when they're going through a hard time. So I love that, just like truly physically gifting the book and just seeing the names of people that you've touched through that, I think is such a cool...
Joy, like you're just sparking, because right now we're vintage shopping, and I had sent, Julie mentioned, she's like, Ashley, I wrote your note inside the book. And I haven't wrote your note, and now I get it, because like us vintage, that's the coolest stuff. When I find a painting that tells you the whole story of like, Susie painted this of Johnny's backyard in, whatever it is, or a book, and you open it up and you can tell how old it is based on the script.
That's true.
Like if it's beautiful cursive, you're like, oh, this is way old. No one knows how to write like that anymore. But when it has a story,
that's so beautiful.
And it's a story within us. Oh, Joy, I'm doing it. I got to write, because I kept Julie's thing that it tells me her note.
That's what I was showing you. I'm like, I have it all.
But you wrote it in there, didn't you? I thought
no,
you said you
not
wrote
in this one. I wrote that in the other book, but I will.
Oh, in the other book.
She sent me 2 books.
Just cut out the little message and tape it on the inside.
Or I can tape it. It's right.
Do.
That's what I mean. This is the message from the store, and the gift message is right there. No, Ashley also sent me A Course in Miracles, and it's exactly what she's talking about. I did this. I wrote it because she's like, even if you don't want to keep it, and I was like, I'm keeping it. And I wrote the message in the front cover. But again, to your point, if I have it or someone else has it, they got the message.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful message which says magic mail. And more.
Because Julie has magic mail slot. Joy, did you
Magic
know
mail.
a magic mail slot?
Wait,
yeah, Joy, I don't
this.
even know you. I don't know if you know, but Joy was the Joy last year when I was in Oxford was the person who was sending me so many beautiful cards and notes and love letters, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But I have this on my front door in Oxford. They still have the individual mail delivery. So there's just a slit in the door.
Oh, cool.
That the mailman comes and pushes the mail through the door
noise.
slot. And it scared me in the beginning. But anyway, yeah, that's so Ashley knows that I was getting mail. I'm like, Joy sent me this thing. She sent me this card. She sent me this letter. She sent me this. And she started calling it magic mail, which I love.
I love
It's
that.
the magical mail slot. And then one day
Magical
a random
mail
lady
slot.
down the street just dropped something through it too.
Yeah.
It's like, it reminded me of like Harry
it's
Potter.
magic mail.
Like, you don't know what's coming.
Oh, totally. Harry
It's
Potter.
magic mail.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do think that there's something very special about the physical and the mail. Like one of my girlfriends
is.
called me one day, this is years ago. She called me crying. And she was like, I opened up my mailbox today and got your birthday card you sent me. And she's like, nobody sends a physical birthday card anymore.
It's true.
I send stuff all the time. I just dropped some stuff in the mail the other day, and I just feel like it's just kind of like you said, magic mail. It's a feel good, spreading joy.
Magical.
You know what is interesting? So I did Google to see if there was like book club questions or whatever in regards to the book.
Yeah.
And there was a random comment / question that had popped up, and it kind of goes to what you're saying. And the question was, did you realize that there's really no like what is not electronics, there's no like electronics or any sort of that mentioned, even when they talk about the woman, the secretary trying to find these people. It's not like, oh, she Googled for hours or whatever, like she just called so-and-so and this person and spent hours and when you're saying that, Joy, like that's what this was about. Like he met them in person even and shared with them, and you know the ones he didn't, he sent you know about it, and he sent notes inviting them to this place. And so it was a very human interactive story as well. I feel like
it was connecting. He was connecting with them in a more, I don't want to say basic, but more kind of getting back to the basics. We used to talk in person. We used to, it was so different. And I do think it's still very meaningful. Even just like Zoom, being able to see someone's face when you're talking to them is beautiful. I mean, Julie's in London and we still get to see her, you know? It's that connectivity, I feel like.
Yeah, and you know what the funny part is with that? Like, I love the time that Julie and I have had in person. And I didn't know how I felt about this. I just kind of chuckled because I guess I don't actually know how I felt. But the other day we were talking about our in-person meetings that we've done, and I realized when we lived 20 minutes from each other, we never did. I mean, we had coffee, But we never actually did in-person meetings. But when these moments where we go long spans of Zoom, which is so blessed because we see each other at least once, if not twice, if not 5 times a week, via Zoom, this week will be like a 5-timer, that when we physically were together, it was like a very important thing to come together, but it's so often missed when you're just, the convenience is there, right? It's like when the convenience is there, it's like, yeah, we'll get together eventually, but when the convenience is gone, you realize, and I think that's one thing Theo did for people, was slowed them down in the midst of their quote unquote convenience, because they also were going to a place in town that's like a common, you know, area for everyone. Many people walk through there every single day, it sounded like. And many of these people that, you know, he found on the bench with him had walked through there a million times, but never had saw it that way, or where their picture was hanging. They had gone in there and got cups of coffee and never realized, like, oh, Asher drew a picture of me and it's been hanging there for months. Like, you know, I think it just really highlighted where we're at in just not being in the present moment.
I think that's such an underlying theme of this book, though, is seeing and visual, and and he's saying, I see you, giving them these portraits. Everything is very, like I said, just very visual, where I don't think sometimes, to your point, we stop and really look, or we stop and really see people. I hate, like a homeless person, nobody pays attention. You just keep walking. If anything, you avert your eyes. And to stop and see that person and remember the human side of they're a person that's being so ignored. And I don't know if you guys saw it, they just had this big thing viral about this little boy at McDonald's that went and sat with this elderly gentleman because he was by himself. And for that little boy to see him and be like, I don't want him to be lonely,
connected,
was so beautiful. I was sitting there crying watching it on the treadmill, but to be able to see people, yeah, I know, I'm like bawling, walking, but to be able to be seen too, for people to see you and then to see them, and it's framed through the artistry and the sketches and the paintings and whatnot, but I think it's really a deeper meaning about stopping and seeing each other.
Yeah, we really saw it from the heart, like, and I think, like, and every person was so uniquely different, and every interaction was so uniquely different. Not everyone was super grateful for him. I mean, gosh, the guy, you know, that was her boyfriend. And when you talk about, so Ellen, she was the homeless woman. Their relationship, I feel like, was such a cornerstone of the entire book. And I think it's for exactly what you say, Joy, because I think that's a population that we can really be like, we can all agree that we either don't look or we look away, right? Like, that is like a pretty common universal thread. Yes, there's people that don't, but I think it's a super just relatable place. And I will say, one of the questions I had for us to cover today is, which character did we relate most to in the book? And my number one that I actually related to was Theo himself, but the one that had the most release for me was the interactions with Ellen. And Julie knows that homelessness, lack of money, not being seen for who you are if you don't have money has been like a whole narrative throughout my entire life, and I believe many, 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 many lifetimes. And I've always made an extra effort to interact with the homeless in a manner in which they're just like everyone else, even if they have mental illness or whatever it may be. And so I struggled to get through reading the interactions with Ellen because I was crying so hard, and they were never tears of sadness. It was like heart opening. Like, the love I felt was just so overpowering. I just could not like keep it in. And so for me, it would be Theo, and then the interactions with Ellen were probably my biggest takeaway?
I know. I'm trying to think which character.
I have a list of their names if you describe.
Okay, yeah.
I can't think of their names.
So, I don't know. Julie, you go, because I'm not sure.
And I was like, they're going to be like, you didn't ask us this ahead of time, Ashley.
Oh, no, it's fine. No.
No.
I guess that's important to say. We didn't plan. We didn't have a list of questions we didn't plan. Yeah.
I think, is it Minnette?
Yeah, Minnette. Yep.
Minnette.
Yeah.
I don't know if relate to her would be the right word, but she spoke to me, especially at the dinner, when they were all having dinner, and her dad was just an idiot, for lack of a better word. I don't. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just coarse and crude and rude and he ignored her. She was super ignored. She was not seen at all. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, now that we've met her dad, we know where she is a character study in and of herself, what her stories were.
Yeah,
it's true.
So I didn't see myself in her necessarily, but I think I empathized with her a lot and felt badly for her.
Mm. Yeah.
But then it wraps up so beautifully at the end for her, so that was good.
Well, maybe the better question, Joy, and why you're struggling with that word is, I guess what I mean is, which character did you feel most connection with? And so that's what I hear you saying. Like, the more it sparks some sort of something within that causes
I felt badly. Yeah, I felt badly for her. Yeah.
Well, and did you realize, like, that her dad was the jerk on the park bench that Theo
not until later.
No? Yeah, so later. He was the jerk on the park bench telling whoever he was on the other line with that she couldn't have a baby, she needs to work, and all the money they paid for school and stuff. And Theo was trying to do a gifting of a photo to someone, and this guy next to him, he kept trying to give him the signals of, like, move on, and he finally had to say something to him to get him to go, and that was him.
I did not make that connection.
At least that's the connection I made. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I didn't like Google to make sure it's true, but I was like, it has to be, because that was her biggest thing. She was, and the dad is kind of like the, if we look at how stories are written, isn't there like an antagonist and, like all these weird characters that are woven throughout? I feel like the dad was like the carrier of that. And then the domestic violence boyfriend too.
Yeah, that one, I was nervous. Like, I was nervous that character was going to come back into play.
Yeah, I was too at first.
So I was glad he didn't, but it was that uneasiness, which is probably how people in domestic violence relationships feel. You never know if they're going to come back or find you, or so maybe that was purposeful.
Yeah.
What about you, Julie?
Yeah.
Remind me of the name of the gentleman that's the corporate guy, the lawyer. The lawyer that he lives with.
Oh, yeah.
Ponder?
That's Mr. Ponder.
Mr. Ponder?
Yeah.
I would say him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to cry or what. But like
so
our relationship. Yes, on our relationship, Julie, you're like my Mr. Ponder, and I'm like Theo. Like, I just feel that, like, connection.
I had to think when you asked the question. I was like, what do I think? And I ran through all the people in my head, and I was like, I think the guy that who's Mr. Corporate businessman, who's like, I'm only going to let people in that meet my criteria. But he actually has a woman or a secretary or whatever you call it, assistant that only lets people in that meet his criteria. and then he and Theo have a first conversation, and he's like, okay, I'm in. And that's all it really takes for me too. And in the past is like, all it takes is one conversation. But sometimes it used to be like, I needed that one conversation to be like, cool, you're in.
Yeah.
And then they became, and it changed him. It changed Mr. Ponder, and it changed his assistant, like, completely.
Yeah.
Like, it turned them around completely, like, oh, this person, even though I don't know their story completely, like, I don't know the details of who they are, I can sense their being and I can sense their intention, and we're going to let them in.
Yeah.
Which I love.
I so see it now that you say that. I was like, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh my gosh. That
I know
was
you
like
will.
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. But I looked at, and I think her name was Miss Gidley, right?
You're good with
I was
names,
trying
I
to
don't
look.
know.
I was trying to look, but I couldn't find it. Yeah.
So when I saw the name Gidley, I was like, okay, we're one vowel off from godly. She's very in.
You're right.
She's very like closed off, not really. And of course, it reminds me of disciples. They were learning, they're following Jesus, but they're learning and they're not really sure what this is all about. They're still skeptical. And I felt like and I'm not saying that Theo was necessarily Jesus, but he was picking people, homeless and people that, have not great family life, like all these different people that he's gathering in. And Miss Gidley is kind of skeptical and who is this guy and what's going on here? And he completely transformed her. And she became such, in my opinion, became such a different person, just like the disciples. Now we believe, now we see what you're trying to do, we see your message, and now we're really excited to be a part of it and say that we were a part of it.
It's true.
So that's kind of how I viewed that character.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And you, like we've talked about, Joey, you say all the time, be the sprinkler, not the fire hose. And that's what Theo was with her. He just kept showing up, right? It's not like he begged for her to like it. He didn't even gift her anything until after he was dead. You know, like, so he just trusted that what his purpose was his purpose, and whether she came around or not wasn't really up to him. He was providing her with what he felt called. And the way I see things and view Jesus personally is that Jesus is a big brother that learned how to ride his bike before I did, and he'll show me at any given moment when I'm ready. And so there's people then that are in the world that have fully trusted his hand, and then they become the hands of Jesus. So I think Theo, the body, was actually Jesus in this book, and I truly believe that Alan didn't write this book. Yeah, his name's on it because the body of Alan is who published it, but I think he was the hands of Jesus. This was a book written through him, just like what was happening with Theo was happening through him. And Julie, you and I had this conversation the other day. Joy, you might know the statement better because I can't remember exactly, but essentially that Jesus couldn't perform in his own town. There's a statement that that means that. What do you remember what it is? It's like in the book of Thomas, I think.
And I can't remember the Bible verse or the Bible passage, but in essence, they're too close to him. They see him still how he used to be, the kid or whatnot. They don't see him. They're just too close to him. It's almost like your family. Sometimes when they're too close to you, they don't see you like your friends see you.
Can't accept it. Yeah, and so I think that was a huge piece of this book as well, is that Theo literally came into this town as a clean slate. And I know a lot of people who grapple about the book are like, why did he wait so long to tell Asher he was his dad? He couldn't, right? Because even though Asher never knew him, that still brought familiarity in, that still brought stories in that would have clouded his ability to be this messenger. And that's why Jesus, I think, when I watched The Chosen and I look at the story and this being Holy Week. We haven't even mentioned that. Everyone, while we're recording this, it's not going to come out this week, but it is Holy Week. I don't think there's any coincidence that we're recording this on Holy Week either. There's been so many beautiful Julie and I's 3 years, 2 years with Lighthouse. I just think like this week is filled with so much remembrance.
Joy sent me a beautiful Easter gift and a cross, and I received it, and I have it here. Yes.
Aw, that's
through
wonderful.
the magic mail.
Through the magic mailbox.
Now that I know that, I'm never gonna I'm gonna picture it now from now on.
Yeah, that the mail comes through. But I think when we look at like Jesus's, life, it's like Theo's. The more people got to know him, the stories began to build up. And like the lady, right? Like all of a sudden the notoriety gets out. So she wants to do a whole expose on him. And we see like with Jesus's life, the more he got known, the more his actual life was at risk, the body of him, right?
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it was just this curiosity until people started to create stories or to tap into their old stories. And that's why like he went back to his hometown and he couldn't do anything there. And if these people knew that Theo was this famous artist giving opinions on Asher, that town would have been overcrowded in 5 seconds.
Yeah, right.
And people would have seen it differently. Not that Theo was seeing people, he would have been like, oh, it's his artistic eye. Asher's a good artist. And not that Asher's a bad artist, but that was not the point. Like you said, Joy, yes, they used pictures and things like that, but the point was that Theo saw him from his heart. It was never like, oh, look at, he made a line by your eye, which is something that should be there. It was like, even when people would make comments of what it physically looked like, Theo was like, but this is what I see.
I agree with what you just said, and I saw that as well, but I also saw it as he didn't tell him he was his father. Kind of like Jesus uses parables in his teaching. And it says throughout the Bible, you can't comprehend. You can't even comprehend. Even if I tried to tell you, it would be overwhelming. It's incomprehensible. So I almost feel like he also didn't tell him because it would have been overwhelming, almost incomprehensible to understand. And when he said, I know you're going to have questions and I won't be here to answer them, isn't that exactly what we do every single day? We have questions and there's nobody to answer them for us. But what did he leave behind? He left behind so many beautiful things for him. So I kind of saw that piece of it too.
No, I think that, I think that's beautiful. I think, yes, he couldn't comprehend, and it would have just so clouded everything, because like he would have been in this state of just like, it's almost like we talk about Spirit never does anything to make you pee your pants. And I feel like that would have been a pee your pants moment if all of a sudden he's like, hey, I'm your dad, and P.S. I've been handing out your paintings and all this like halfway through. He would have been like, what? This makes no sense. A pee your pants moment, like a shock and inability to comprehend. And so, I love that, Joy.
And then too, just like as a parent, you don't want to influence your child. You want your child to find their own way. You want them, you're here for them, you're behind them, but you got to figure this out. You got to find your own way. And that's the thing. If he would have told him, oh, I'm your dad and I'm this world-renowned artist and this and that, now is Asher's creativity stifled? Is his art now influenced that way because of who his father is? Where now it can just be pure and be him.
Yeah. And that's what God does for us too. He's always with us. He's not going to force us to make this decision or that decision, but he will always be there along the path, and he's left breadcrumbs.
It just hit me as I said that out loud about being a parent. Kendrick, the janitor, and his daughter that was ill.
Yep.
There's a lot of parental themes in here. Father, child, father, child, father, child. I mean, there's so mother, child, Ellen and her daughter, being
Yeah.
reunited.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's a very big parent-child theme throughout this book too, and the sacrifices you make. My gosh, Asher's mom. That was a huge sacrifice.
That's true.
To say, hey, and she did.
Love
I mean,
you, but I gotta let you
Yeah.
go, and please let us be.
yeah,
That was so good. But I think it's like, it's like the last part of the book is my favorite book, when the inscription that the library guy, the guy that owns the bookstore, puts on the bench. When he puts the bench there, he had a plaque embedded in Theo's bench at the Fetter. All who read it are told that this was a place where heaven and earth met in the form of an old Portuguese man. They are told that all who choose to be are capable of saintliness. They are also told that faith, hope, and love endure, but the greatest of these is love. And I think that's what we're shown over and over again throughout it, is that if we choose, we're capable of saintliness, and in that is the reconnection with God. And then the themes you're talking about, Joy, of like people being reconnected with their child. I mean, even the first one, you could say, well, they were connected. He got to see her. No, she was locked up in the hospital when Theo first met her. So if we look at it from that aspect, they were apart, and it took things to occur to bring them back together.
yeah.
Julie, what are you thinking?
Well, what I was thinking about was the fact that, like, the story of, like you said, we find out at the end some of his true stories, let's call it, about who he is and and that he's a father, and that he's a famous, celebrity artist and that kind of thing. And what I was thinking was like, wow, people that go through life that have this celebrity status, and the stories we tell ourselves about, I'm so-and-so's, parent or this or that, and how much that can influence the way we behave. And it just so, like, I love that we didn't know any of that till the end.
Yeah.
Because that's really what made the story. What we saw was his true essence of, I just want to love people, and I don't want people. And so he went somewhere where people didn't know him and they couldn't figure it out, and he didn't share it. And I love that, because I think that so many of us, in whatever capacity that is, where we're successful or wealthy or famous or this or that, whatever it is, we get so caught up in those labels that we can't separate from it. And so that's really for me, like, he really just disconnected from all of that and was like, I just want to be me, and I love this art in this coffee shop.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't know anything about why he loved it or what. It just spoke to him. Like, we all have art that speaks to us, and whatever that is, music or paintings or whatever. And he wanted to, we didn't know. And again, I think at the end, we want to attach, like, well, why did he buy those paintings? Actually, what I thought throughout the whole book was, he really just truly loved the art. He really just truly wanted to connect, period. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really need at the end, we learned some stuff about maybe why he did it, but I don't know. I didn't actually even need that.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. The author, in my opinion, tied everything up in such a nice, neat bow at the end.
Yeah.
But to your point, I don't think he needed to. I'm going through the whole book, and I enjoyed it, and I was like, oh, this is a great story. This is a great story.
Yeah.
But when I got to chapter 62, I mean, what are there, like 65 chapters? Mm-hmm. I got to 62, and that, to me, when you said earlier, Ashley, about vessel, that this author is just a vessel, I almost felt like his writing style shifted even a little bit. And it was a little bit different. His narrations and the way he wrote seemed to shift a little bit. And and it was this big boom, aha moment that when he started and I was like, oh, wow, this is so big. This is, the whole time I was like, he's gifting, it's kindness, it's so many different things.
Yeah.
Cute little story.
But then when it got to that part, and I highlighted it and circled, and I was just like, it was that wow moment. But I almost felt, like it wasn't necessarily just him saying it. He was getting the messages.
Guided.
Yeah. He was guided, yes.
It's beautiful and interesting and crazy and all the things that you say that. So here in Washington, the sun doesn't come out super a lot, but where my couch is situated, there's a park right across with a really tall hill. And the sun rises behind the hill, but I had never been sitting on the couch and had the sun come glaring through over the hill until I hit that chapter. And it was like blinding in my eye, and I just started bawling. Julie, I texted you, I think. I said, I don't know if I can get through this book. Because I couldn't, and not because I was sad, but because I couldn't keep wiping my eyes. What came to my mind when you're saying that, Joy, it's like it starts out as a Hallmark movie book, right? Like, oh, isn't that sweet? We should watch this at Christmas. And then all of a sudden it turns like biblical out of nowhere, or some sort of like parable that Jesus actually told and we missed it someday. That's what, at least for me, it felt like. It was, like you said, it was like, this is a great, I was having my own like movements and stuff throughout it on its own. Like I loved it, period. But yes, when those hit, then I was like, oh yeah. God, like what?
Yeah. I was like, boom. It just became this
taker.
It became this like, that was the part. I even folded the book like, this is it. This is where it was like, boom.
What page is that exactly?
Yeah, what page is that, Joy?
It's page, oh my gosh, it's page 360.
Okay.
Yep. So right at the end.
Okay, so I'm going to read this part that really stood out to me. And I wrote next to it my favorite part.
Okay.
But God, in his sublime goodness, has always sent others, mysterious others, to walk with us. Prophets, preachers, friends, teachers, artists, storytellers, wives and husbands, children, songbirds and rivers, even hardship and loss, to help us see clearly. And it goes back to that theme of seeing. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. So it was, that was the part of the book that I was like, oh my gosh, of all the hundreds of pages, these couple pages were, to me, the meat.
Yeah. This book just
Oh, and then the very next page, it says he wanted refuge. Theo wanted refuge, and he chose us, which everybody knows he chosen. Obviously. But the other thing is just the symbolism throughout the book. Like the coffee shop being called the chalice, and just so much symbolism all throughout.
Yeah. So Julie knows that I originally was like, I need to have a conversation with Alan. And I see him being on different podcasts and stuff because I follow him on Instagram. And that's how I heard that he said he wrote this book for Jesus. And I've heard clips because, shorts or whatever on Instagram. And it's always about why did you choose this character? Why did you choose that? And I was like, that's not what my conversation, I just feel that this guy is an open vessel, that Jesus, he has cleared enough stories that I can literally have a conversation with Jesus with him. That's my goal. I would tell. And I remember when I was like, I'm going to send this to everyone on my podcast. And I told Julie, I was like, and what went in my mind is, well, what if Alan comes on? Well, I'll send him an own copy and he can gift it to someone. Send him his own book.
Hey, whatever.
But you know what? I think sending him a book where you've highlighted and wrote notes and underlined to say this spoke to me, because isn't that why you write a book? Is to share a story and speak to other people, and not that I'm disagreeing that he wrote it for Jesus, because if that's what he says, then that's what he meant. But I feel like he wrote it for so many people. You know, how many copies has he sold? And people that are sharing it. He wrote it for us too.
But I think that's where the for comes in. Like, for can have multiple definitions. And he said, I wrote it for Jesus because that's what he that's his interpretation of for. But I think what we're seeing as a reader of it is like, no, you wrote it for Jesus. Like, he's like, my hands do not work on the earth anymore. I do not have ability to type in this computer because I'm now, like, you know, not a body. So, Alan, can I use your body? That kind of for, right? Like, Alan, can I use your body? Can you be clear enough for me to write this book? And so that you can say you wrote it for me. Yeah. That's the for I feel.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that Alan is not a great, I mean, he has to be great. He has to have worked through a lot of stories to have Jesus be able to clearly move through him and share this. Because he was like a lawyer. He was the businessy guy. He was a lawyer and stuff. Alan was.
I love, Joy, what you said about any author wants to know, like, they're writing for their audience. I mean, yes, they're writing for themselves, and also whomever the audience is winds up being. And so I love what you said about the messages or the words or the sentences that really we attached to, that we were like, oh my God, this really made me feel emotional, or I'm connected to this character and why. And I think that if I was the author, I'd be like, that's what I would want to hear.
Yeah.
I love exactly what we're talking about, which is like, I was connected the most to this character, and this is why. And what you just read in those couple pages, like, these words spoke to me, and this is why. And I think as an author, I would imagine he would be like, oh my God, that's exactly why I wanted to write this. I wanted to know. Yeah.
And I think you get joy. Because I sent you this little book that I sent to you. Yeah. And then you have it too.
Yeah, we both have it. Mm-hmm.
That Chinese proverb about you cannot hand a rose to someone without the smell getting on you.
Yeah.
The gifting that we all do, because you guys both do it too. We gift to people, not for any other reason, but we want to bring them joy. But it gives us so much joy to know it touched them, or it meant something to them, or they felt it. I have to tell you guys this little sidebar.
Yeah.
When I was diagnosed, my girlfriend, who's a flight attendant, brought me this little book, Grace for Today, and it's just like little women's devotional, and of course I wrote who gave it to me, what day, blah blah blah. But just like little devotionals and this and that. Oh. But she wrote, there was a card in it. My girlfriend brought this to me from one of her friends who was a flight attendant who I had never met. I'd never met this woman. I did not know her. But when my friend said, oh, my friend was diagnosed with breast cancer, she bought me the book and then wrote me a card with like 5 of her favorite Bible verses. Oh. It was the most beautiful card. She just said, hi, my name is Regina. I'm my friend Carrie's friend. And it was just the most beautiful. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a perfect stranger. Yeah. To give this to me. It was really life-changing, where I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start doing that for other people. I may not know this person, but if it's your friend going through something, then let me send her a prayer card, even though I don't know her. It was just that moment, kind of what Theo did. I don't know these people. I don't even know how they're going to receive it. Right. But I'm going to do it not out of a selfish bring myself joy, but I'm hoping I'm giving them joy and let them know they're seen.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so exactly what like you said, what the book is about, which is having it doesn't matter whether it's in the book, it's about paintings, and, in your example, it's about Bible messages or a card or prayers or whatever it is. It doesn't actually matter what it is. Right. It is about what speaks to you, what spoke to you, and what spoke to him. He's an artist. So what spoke to him, or what he saw, was like, oh my God, this art is beautiful. And if we had known early that was his son's art, it would have been like, well,
duh, it's his kid.
Yeah, it's his kid. He wants to.
He likes it.
He wants to make him successful for what, blah blah blah. But I believe the whole way through 350 pages was he truly resonated with the art, with the person that was being painted, as he describes, and saw them, wanted to share it. And that's one of the main things I think I took away from the book, was when he met with people individually to give them the paintings or the portraits or whatever, he not only did he give it to them and say, I saw this and I wanted to share this with you, he said, this is what I see in your face, in this portrait. This is what I saw when I saw this portrait. I saw someone who was strong and confident and loving and maybe sad and whatever the different words were. But that part, and I was like, that part was really so powerful. Like you said, that we're all, Joy, what your example just was, which is, I see you. I want you to know I see you right now, whatever you're going through, and I hope this gives you some comfort or joy or love or something. And that was the part that I was really like, the biggest takeaway was that he explicitly shared, this is what I see in this photo of you, or this or again portrait of you.
Yep.
I think, like, in that too, he didn't just say all the positive things. And I think that was the beautiful part. Like you even said, like, at one point he's like, I think I see someone tired who's been through a lot and this.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot going on.
He always ended it with, but I see someone who could be a saint. He always ended it with, despite all of these things that you think are keeping you from God, you still have the ability. All you have to do is choose. And I think that's such, at least for me, was like a powerful message, because it's the reiteration that saintliness isn't what's happening at the level of form. It's what's happening within. And that's what he was able to see, because, people are like, oh, but I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And he's just like, no, like, and, the chair even had the inscription that I read of like, all it takes is your choice to do that. And like, that's what Theo was doing, right? Like, he was a living example of that. He made the choice to do something different. Like you said earlier, Julie, you were like talking about people who are famous or, have certain personas that are known, how it impacts their ability to listen to that intuition or to respond in a certain manner because of the story. And he left that so that he could follow what was in his heart in a place that he felt safe. He felt, clear of doing that. And go ahead.
I'm sorry. The one of the words that comes to my mind is humility. He had such humility, just like Jesus, didn't want people to know that he could do these miracles at first. It wasn't time yet. It wasn't time for him to divulge who he was. And his humility, even like at the dinner table, when the uncle is being, or the brother is being such a jerk, And he was so gentle and so kind and just tried to move it along and just tried to kind of just, not come at him like, okay, you know what I mean? He just dealt with him in such a gentle, kind way. Yeah. The only time that we see Theo get really bent out of shape is when Cleve is destroying that picture of the girlfriend, and he's so upset about it. That's really the only time we see him get angry. Like they said, Jesus went into the market and overturned tables. That was the only time we saw Jesus get angry, because you're not treating my father's house the right way. And Theo was like, how could you do this? You're not physically beating her up in front of me, but you're destroying her, you're hurting her. And that angered him. But other than that, he was just so humble and gentle and kind, and just didn't want the recognition, didn't want people to know, because that then also it comes with preconceived notions.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I loved it. I loved his gentleness.
Yeah, and patience. And I think that was moments that we saw, like, his humanness still in the moments. But I also think his interaction with the father, both times when he was on the park bench and then at dinner, to me, I saw him showing us that he still had the ability to see the saintliness in that guy. Like, he never said it, right? But he was interacting with him the same he interacted with all these people he was gifting these figures to. And so I just think so many facets were shown, that it doesn't matter where you are. And he didn't choose based on that. Like, he didn't ask the coffee shop guy, I can't remember his name. He didn't say, like, hey, who on this wall is, struggling or has recently gone through it. He just, like, went down the wall and knew that, like, that's just the guidance no matter where you are. And, like, yeah, it's like with our Etsy shop thing, and sometimes I'm like, why are we selling stuff? But then I just remember, like, people are being guided that need the notes. It's not about that. It's about the note that comes with it. And when you were talking, Julie, about, like, or I think Joy, one of you was saying, like, about how you don't think about it. You just do it. And you just trust it, and you stop looking at, like, the parameters. So the other day, like, a guy ordered a very manly thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to write a story about this? And what is he going to think? Like, that was my first thought, was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be judgment. And then I was like, nope, like, I'm going to write it like I would write any other note, because he came into here for whatever reason that was. And Pat was like, well, maybe he bought it as a gift for a woman or something. I was like, no, like, that doesn't matter. Like, whoever's meant to get this is meant to get that. And I think that's what showed, like, the random act of kindness, the big movement with that and stuff. And, I feel like it ebbs and flows when all of a sudden it's popular. It's random. But it can also be purposeful in the same aspect.
And I think what you're, kind of what we've been saying is what he did and what the book did was strip all the stories away.
From everyone.
From him, from what it means to him, as who he is as a father, as all the things, labels we could put on him, but all the stories of the people. He saw a portrait and he said, this is what I see. Yeah. And he didn't know them. He did until he knew, and of course he at some point learned some stories about them. But what I love is that he just said, I see you, and you're not your stories. So the gentleman whose daughter was in the hospital and had an accident, and like you were saying, the gentleman, Minnette's father, who is, controversial, let's call it, at the dinner, he didn't engage. He was like, I don't see a story around you. I see somebody who's kind of having this behavior, and I'm not going to engage and meet you with this, like, kind of aggressiveness. And instead he's like, so tell me about your mom, or tell me about your whatever. Tell me about you. Tell me about you.
He didn't
And that's,
let
I
him
think, the biggest thing.
Yeah, he didn't let him steal his joy and his peace. He stayed in peace.
Yeah.
He just changed it over. Tell me more about your mom.
Yeah, he
which
didn't
that part
put a
was cool
story
to
on
wrap
it.
up. Yeah.
Right.
That part I was like, oh, okay. It made looking back at that dinner interaction even more important when he was like, tell me about your mom.
Yeah.
Because now we know who she is.
And I think that's, now that we've talked about it for the last hour or whatever, it's like, I didn't really, thank you, because I didn't really have that message, the takeaway message, which was, for me, which was the whole purpose of this book and the story, the engagement with the characters was, don't put labels on people and see them for who they are, because, and meaning their spirit, their wholeness, like the wholeness of them. So like the character that's homeless, that's not who she is. She's not a homeless person.
And she doesn't feel that way.
She doesn't feel that way. She's got so many characteristics that are beautiful and wonderful, and she's an artist and a mom and all the things, very passionate. And yet we all have to, I think the book reminds us that like we immediately go to a label for people. Oh, this person's homeless. Well, they obviously are this, and this, and they, whatever the things are that we've been trained to believe. And it's like what the book does is remind us that if you'd like to take a moment and look, that's not what's there. That's not what's going on with that person.
Just even to your point, the label of the janitor. Okay, he's a nighttime janitor that nobody ever sees. No, he's a father with an incredible gift of singing. Because that's another theme throughout the whole book.
All of them.
Is the music, the guitar, the singing, the cello, whether it's visual artistry or auditory artistry, the gifts that we're given to be able to say, wow, I see your beautiful gift. That to me was a really cool theme too. And here's another one I'm going to throw out there, which we could probably talk about this book for hours, but it just hit me right now on this phone call. Tony, the bookstore owner.
Yeah.
He tells his stories about Vietnam to Theo, and it is deep, heavy stuff. That was a release and forgiveness. He let it out, and he let it out to Theo, and to me there was this sense of forgiveness. Same with Ellen. They took her baby and what that did to her and the trauma it did to her, and okay, now Theo knows the story, and there's redemption and forgiveness in so many of, even Minnette, she didn't have that baby. So when later on she has a baby and there's forgiveness, and she even says to Theo, I don't know why I'm sitting here telling you all this.
Yeah.
So Theo was that person that listened to so many confessions and gave them redemption and forgiveness too.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
That's
it's
great.
like he provided them this space with no judgment. And today is the day with Holy Week that Judah, goes against Jesus and rats him out and everything. And so many people think he's a bad character then, but never once did Jesus portray him as a bad piece of the plan. He always knew that was going to happen, and he, at least in The Chosen, they do a really beautiful job of him alluding, that he already knows this, because it's all a part of a grander plan. And that's what it means for, thou shalt not judge, only God, is because we don't know what the plan is. And I think that's what Theo does. Like, people pour their heart out with things that are very judgmental, right? Like that someone could be very, even if they don't show it, their body language could change. They could stop interacting with you as much, you know, all these different things. And when people pour their heart out, it's almost not even like instantaneous, but it's like he keeps showing up, right? He keeps showing up in the same manner, like with Ellen. Like, I think she even alludes at one time, like, why would you still want to hang out with me or whatever? And he's like, no, but you know, it's like he looks past, which gives them permission, like you're talking about, Joy, to forgive and to look past themselves and to see it as this much grander piece of the plan. And I think that's only why at the end there's not so much anger and resentment and out of any of those things. Like when he fell over, like I had to almost be like, did this really happen? Because it wasn't like super detailed of how he died, right? But then you're like, oh my gosh, that was foreshadowed, right, in the beginning by the businessman who is very like by the book, and he's warned about it, and that's like the one way he goes out, and that could have been used as a judgment point. Mr. Ponder could have beat himself up about that, if only, you know, all these things, but instead it's not even really addressed again, because it's just acknowledged that it's just a part of the script. Like, they don't go into detail about retaliation against the guys that beat him up in the park. They just move forward and next in front of the next. And so when you bring up the music piece, Joy, and the, not even just the music piece, like you said, Julie, just like the artistry that is woven throughout, whether it's writing, right? Because writing's a huge piece, or it's singing, or it's drawing, or it's whatever. Each one is used very intentionally as an opportunity to express forgiveness and true sight. Because like Theo does it through giving the pictures, right? And even through writing certain letters. But at the end, when he passes away, or night before he passes away, the night he passes away, the song is them saying, we truly see you, Theo. That song that they get up and sing about Theo, right? And then at his, his funeral or whatever, and people get up and speak and truly see him. So I think it's showing, like you said, our gifts are not meant to make us money or to this, or like, that might happen. That might come on the side. What our gifts are given for is to use them as vessels to forgive and to truly see people. That's what I felt, because it's showing it doesn't matter what your gift is, and it doesn't matter what bad things you've done, you can still be seen as the truth that you are.
I 100% agree, and I also feel like forgiven, because Theo feels guilt over being so egotistical and having his focus on fame and money, and the love of his life goes away because of his actions. And he is able to then forgive himself, I think, at the end, because he has reconnected, and he feels like he's, I don't want to say redeemed himself, but he's done these actions kind of, I feel like, to close a wound, maybe to forgive himself.
Acceptance. I think by him going back and being able to be the observer, right? Because he didn't out who he was, so he truly got to be an observer of his son from like this high place. I think is, like you said, he was showing other people that this, like, everything's happening in a grander plan, but he was able to accept in his heart, like, I was never meant to be like this. This was Asher's journey, and I was not meant to be a part of it in the way I think I should have been. And he turned out, beautifully, and is following his heart, and he realized that, oh my gosh, I actually was with Asher the entire time. That letter I wrote back, right? Like I mean, what's greater than that? Isn't that all you hope for with your child, is to like be this person, the cheerleader? And even though Theo wasn't there in person, just like God isn't here in person, he has left us notes everywhere through other people cheering us on.
Yep.
And
Just like that
what,
passage said, he's using people.
and yeah, and I love, and he even said like birds, and that passage that you read, like it was like everything.
He uses everything to show us signs and wonders, basically.
Yeah. Julie, your word. What's your statement for the last 3 years? Because I feel like it's like perfect with what we're just saying right now.
What, see things anew or what?
No, that
What
we're
are you
in
thinking of?
relationship with everything.
Oh, that we're in that everything is a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything, every person, every situation is a relationship that we're in.
Yeah, I would agree. We're all
And it
connected
didn't-
somehow.
Yeah, and it didn't really I feel like it requires a little explanation because it's like I think people think relationship means persons, people. And it's like, no, what I'm saying is everything is a relationship. Everything that you think, do, feel, interact with, whatever, is actually a relationship, and it tells you something. How you interact with it, whatever it is, the book, that's what we're talking about. This book, we have a relationship with this book. And it's telling us all the things we just shared, which is what spoke to us the most, what's the takeaway, who are the people that we resonated with, what are the messages. So it's a book. It's not a person, but it's a book about a person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every relationship's ultimate use is to experience the love of God. And I think that's, I mean, that's
We
what
did.
I felt. Yeah.
I was going to say, and
Yeah,
we
it
did
was-
experience it.
I felt it
Thank
for
you,
sure.
Alan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alan, Levi, Levy.
Whatever.
Thank you for writing it.
I'm curious
Thanks.
to see if this becomes a movie.
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
for sure. I saw it, or
I think
a
so.
series, because
Or
Netflix and those,
something.
like I feel
That'd
like
be beautiful.
each gifting could be
That would
another
be so
episode.
beautiful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a series would be amazing.
Be amazing.
Yeah.
It would.
It's definitely got legs because I told you this already, Ashley, but I heard an advertisement for the book on Joel Osteen, and I was like, I had never, and I haven't heard it since.
Same.
I only heard it
Same.
the
I
other
haven't
day.
heard it. I haven't heard it beyond what we've shared and what I told you about how it came to me. I haven't heard I haven't heard anyone say that they're reading it.
Now, did you have your book talk already with the group
Tomorrow.
that you've started? Okay.
Yeah,
So
tomorrow.
it'd be
so
interesting
my-
to know what their take or how they saw things.
It came to her. Yeah, it will be interesting. So the woman that I'm meeting with tomorrow, Yanela, is someone that works at Rose and Crown, and she and I are going to meet tomorrow to talk about it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see her perspective, but she only knows about it from me. Like I don't. It wasn't in her awareness either. So it'll be interesting to see how she feels about it for sure.
Yeah, I would love to know what other people are
Yeah.
thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you're listening
definitely.
and you read the book, we'd love for you to comment,
Please comment.
and share.
Please comment. Yeah.
What was your
absolutely.
greatest takeaway? Who did you feel most connected to? And I will say there was a book I purchased like a year ago, at least. I'd have to look at my Amazon. It was like on sale, and I think it's called No Two Persons. But essentially, after I read Theo of Golden, I saw it in my Kindle, and I was like, nah, do I want to read it? And I devoured that, and what that provided me was I was like, oh, now I see why I didn't read it yet, because I had to read Theo of Golden first, because I told you at the beginning that I sent this off to 11 people and decided the whole world needed to read it, right? Because it impacted me. But this book, it is about a book that you see all these different individuals who interact with a copy of the book and how it's used. Like one lady even uses it in a sculpture. She doesn't even read it. And I was like, this is what's gonna, like all the Theos I sent out, but they all have impact in their own way, whether they actually read it or, it sat on the coffee table and sparked some sort of remembrance. And so it's just another reminder, because it's like even the paintings, they didn't impact everyone in the same way in that moment, their direct reactions.
That's right.
But it sparked exactly what it needed to in that moment. And I think Theo also, like, this book also is a remembrance of everything is happening exactly as it's meant to.
And you know what just hit me? It just hit me sitting here thinking about it. What about that one character, and I can't think of her name. It was Cleve's girlfriend who didn't want the portrait because she said, that's my old self. That is not who I am anymore. That one, I was like, wow, that's very impactful.
Yeah. Because he showed up first, and yes. That was,
Because that was so different. Like you said, everybody reacted differently. Hers was so different. Like, that's not me anymore. You know what that reminds me of?
Mary Magdalene. The story of Mary. Yes. Right? And he called her by name. Like, and Theo got to see her for who she truly was in a different interaction. And then, and so
didn't she change her name too?
Yeah.
In the book, didn't she change her name too?
Yeah, because she ended up being the waitress and found it in the drawer, right? She found it in the drawer when she was there waiting, and to do the special dinner from the special restaurant that he went to every day, and never noticed that she was working there.
Okay, this is going to be really bizarre, but I wonder if Alan is a fan of The Chosen or has watched The Chosen. Because even the way he just portrayed that character is very similar to how The Chosen portrayed Mary.
That's true.
But we could go even further. I'm a firm believer that Dallas and Amanda are allowing, there's moments I've seen their own ego beliefs come back in, but for the most part, The Chosen was their bodies being used by Jesus to bring forth a message. And so it makes sense, because if it's the same guy using these bodies named Jesus, he's going to portray Mary in the same way that he does.
I might go back and read about that character now, because I am like, what did she change her name to again?
I'm going to read the whole book again. Like, I just love spending time with Theo and the people of Golden. I think it's a fun place to be.
They've got to cast for the physical copy. Thank you.
They got to cast that character really, really well, though, because I think we all have a picture of who he is. For sure.
I want to be Ellen. If anybody's listening, if Netflix is listening, and you're going to cast this, I know I'm not an actress, but I want to play Ellen. Can I please be Ellen?
I know. I'm sitting here thinking, who would be Theo? Like an Andy Garcia.
I don't know. I'm just looking at the picture of the gentleman, Alan. He's very.
Well, I feel like
he's very handsome.
Yeah, he is. If you see him, he is very.
Yeah, he's very handsome.
But I almost feel like it needs to be like The Chosen. Jonathan Rumi was not known. I don't think it's someone that we can correlate with anything else.
No, that's what I mean. Alan can do it.
Alan.
Like, here he is.
Wait, he's got to be. Oh, I don't have a picture. Oh,
it's at the back. Oh, yeah, it's at the back cover. Yeah. I'm like, he's very handsome.
Well, he says he's an actor, so get out there.
I feel like I'm sure he used some qualities of himself. Like, he looks like he could have lived in Portugal. I don't know.
Well, even when you said that, Ashley, about him being a lawyer, I'm like, well, that makes sense that Ponder, he had that character kind of buttoned up.
There's lots of conversations out there with him where he goes in deeper and tries, to articulate at the level of form why people are the way they are. But I still believe it was just channeled through him and used what makes sense to him.
That is what authors, think about other authors like Elizabeth Gilbert and people that talk about writing. The story comes to them, right? It's not because, it depends on what you believe, but it's like, is she just creative in that example? Or did the story of Eat, Pray, Love come through her? And that it was her journey. Of course, it was she wrote about her journey in that example. She's written many beautiful books, but yeah, I think this is an example of
coming through.
The story came through him, and like I said, when since you were talking about who would play him, I'm like, he looks like he could be from Portugal. I'm good with it. He would be lovely to watch on Netflix.
Yeah.
He's so
yeah.
I agree with that. I think there's I think all stories come to, like Elizabeth Gilbert talks about in her book Big Magic, but I think the most special ones come through. The most impact. I mean, truly
I think
come
they
through.
all. You don't. Yeah, they come. Well, as we believe, that through the work we've been doing together, it's all God's plan, and so it's the message comes to you. It's kind of like the writing I've been doing this last couple months in my writing class, which I've never taken a writing class. I never thought I was going to write anything. And I've been allowing the spark of, whatever to come up and be like, oh, I'm going to write about this. I because it wasn't something I intentionally planned or thought, oh, I want to explore more on this topic. Nothing like that. It was purely something that came in that I was like, oh, somebody shared something and I wanted to write about it.
I would love for you to write, even if it's just a little short story about the Rose and Crown. And what is her name again? Llewellyn?
Debbie.
No.
Yanela.
I love that name.
That I'm going to meet
Yanela.
with tomorrow. Yeah, it's Ionella. She's from.
I know.
Now I can't
I
remember
love
the
that.
name of the country. She's a beautiful, lovely woman.
But that's the thing.
I
even
think it's
her name.
Yeah, Yanela. Mm-hmm.
Her name is poetic. Rose and Crown.
It is.
How this
Rose
all
and
came.
Crown.
Like that would be such a beautiful little short story.
Yeah, true. Oh, thank you.
Well, the Rose and Crown has been like your magical portal. So, like, I'm all about magic things, I guess. Julie's got lots of magic. Maybe it's because, like, Harry Potter,
I love
Oxford.
Oxford is magical.
Yes.
It is. It's very magical.
You got magical mail. I envision your mail being delivered by an owl carrying
Well,
it.
actually, my gentleman
I love
that
it.
delivers the mail is just the sweetest. He looks like Alan
Maybe
Levy.
Maybe he's Theo.
He looks like he's so darling. Oh, he's so darling. And he sees me and he's like, oh, how are you? He's so cute. Yeah.
Oh. You know what's fun? Like, this is so random. But Pat, I got this beautiful picture of Jesus that I absolutely love. And he looks at me, he's like, why do they always depict Jesus as hot? Or I don't think he used the word hot, good looking, whatever. And it's the truth because we've been so trained. It's like famous people and stuff. We believe they know the best things or whatever. But we've been so trained that if you have a powerful, good message, you must look good too. And it's not consciously, it's subconsciously. So, even as we're talking about what Theo should, no one said he should look like the humpback of Notre Dame, like Alan Levy, because he's good looking.
I'm saying whatever he looks like, we will think he's beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No matter what he looks like.
Yeah.
I think our subconsciously, because I know there's people, like if I'm on Instagram or something and scrolling, of course. Less likely to listen to the person that my eyes are not attracted to than the person that I'm attracted to, or even like decorating, right? I'm going to listen to someone who decorates something that I feel I like versus the person that's like, that's not my style.
I get it. No, I get it.
Well, that's the beauty of like that show, The Voice, the singing contest, The Voice.
Yeah,
you're
where it brings
only
it all
listening
together.
to the voice. It doesn't matter physically what you look like. We're just listening to that piece of you. I felt like I've always been a fan of that show because it is just about your voice and your talent and your gifts and what's coming through you, not how you look.
Right.
Which I do think is super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've just been, it's not like a bad thing, but we've been subconsciously planted that it must look a certain way. And yeah, it's just so interesting how even like if we just think of the book, if we go back, like that's also a thing Theo is debunking, because I'm not guessing that everyone was quote unquote beautiful to everyone's eyes, but he said everyone was beautiful when he saw them. Like he saw them for what they truly are, which wasn't their body, but which was the light that is within them. Yeah. I'm gonna pay more attention to my choices based on that.
We don't need a super hot actor. We want someone just that we can love. That's it. Whatever that looks like.
Who will be endearing to us for sure.
Who's endearing? I don't need.
He did a good job of painting him as a kind of a diminutive, small, gentle
good dresser. Like his outfit, I was like, oh my, this is so European. I love it.
Yeah.
And you can imagine that everything was trimmed and he was probably very put together. But that's also what made him so endearing, and for people to open up to him and not be afraid of him and to meet him. And
he had to look like he was kind of organized a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. And safe. You know,
safe.
You're meeting and
the fact that he was whatever he was, 80 something, 80.
Yeah.
And I mean, most people, I feel like you meet with someone who's 80-ish and you're like, they're just a beautiful little, like, I don't mean little, I just mean little, like I always say little, like safe and
they
cute.
kind of backwards.
They feel little. They feel like, oh, I just want to squeeze you.
Like a kid.
So cute.
Because they feel like more clear. Yeah, just like more clear. And the safe and stuff. I think we could just dive so much even deeper, because I think Theo was showing that over and over again. Yes, who he was portrayed in that manner. Just like, I am guessing that Jesus was relatively good looking back in the day, whatever good looking was back in the day.
To be trusted
to
appeal,
more.
To be trusted.
To appeal more to the masses. But Theo showed us like
that's true.
It doesn't matter. Like with Ellen, right? Like if we're thinking safe, she would be the last of what people think would be safe. To allow her to take you on a bike ride, not knowing anywhere you're going, right? Like, but Theo was like, all right, I'm all for it. Yeah. And she even took him to like sketchy places under the bridge and in this area, you know. I think that's like a whole deeper dive of like the constructs.
I was going to say.
Who brought up at the beginning about the mind, you, Julie. The constructs of the mind, the wine, we can't in the new cast, but then it's also we can't have a new mind in the same constructs. And so that's really what I'm talking about right now is our constructs of like a person looking this certain way. And it can be a lot of ways. Is safe, and then a lot of ways is not safe, is, you know, reputable a lot of ways, not reputable a lot of ways. And like what you're talking about, Joy, that's why the voice is so beautiful at the beginning when they choose their people, because they can't actually see them. And it is sometimes so like you can see it on some of the judges' faces. They can't hold back when they're like, whoa, that's like, not what I thought was going to be here.
Or this person, or a boy, or a female, or a male, or this, or that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it takes what I said about the stories. Mm-hmm. It takes away the stories we have about what it means to have a strong voice, or an opinion, or what does it mean to be homeless, or what does it mean to be this, and when you can't until you see the person for who they actually are and the history that they've experienced, and actually, does it matter that she's homeless? In any way, does it matter?
Well, she was really fun. She was one of the funnest.
She's an artist. She's had experiences just like we all have. She's currently living in this situation, but it doesn't matter. Does it make her any more or less a beautiful human being?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It just is like, that's just the story we've attached to her.
Right.
Yeah. It's the judgment. It takes away.
Yeah, it's the judgment.
Completely.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
To not judge someone based on their appearance in any capacity.
Or actions.
We shouldn't be.
Or even actions, because I think one of the most beautiful things that we didn't go super deep about, but is how Theo's interaction with the janitor then transferred into his interaction with the drunk driver. and his acceptance and his like love for him despite all the what all the constructs should say, right? And then him actually taking time to hear the guy's story and to really understand the bigger. I mean, I don't know how you guys felt, but when I read like the real story, I was like, oh my God, I can't even believe they arrested him. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you hear the whole story, you're like,
of course. Yeah, like it wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
I mean,
but everybody
it wasn't
has
his
that.
fault.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so
that's sorry,
Go ahead, Joy. No,
the beauty
you're good.
of when you say you don't know what someone's been through, you don't know their backstory, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I always remember that. I always try to think about that because you don't know what someone's going through. Is that man under the bridge begging for money a homeless person, but he was a veteran that served in the military and sacrificed his family? And you know what I'm saying? So I always think, what is the backstory? Or I'm not going to judge somebody because I don't know what their backstory is.
Right.
And it is, yes, society and the constructs, and that we need to break those down. We need to just break those down and do away with them and just look at people for who they are, period.
In the present moment. And I think, again, to bring it back full circle to what today is, like, I mean, and still today people struggle to see Judah in a way of loving and playing his role in the grander scheme. But, I mean, Jesus never flinched an eye in my mind, like in the way the Chosen's depicted it, the way it's in the Bible, like it just was. It was like, yeah, this was his part. And he was like one of his right-hand man. You know, he was literally like handling their money. You know, he was like handling some of the most important things we would say today. And I think that's the piece, is like Jesus always saw everyone in the exact moment. Same for Mary. I think when she comes back from her bender, right? Then when she goes back out and she's like apologizing for everything. And he's like, no. Hugs her, gives her love, sees her for what she truly is again. Because we're not living in the past or the future. Like, we're always in the present moment. And what you did yesterday or 2 seconds ago does not matter. And even when it's happening in the moment, he still sees you for what you truly are. That's why he like touches a leper, you know, and is like not afraid because he knows that's not really who he is. And if he doesn't believe that's what he is, he's not going to get it.
I did not know this until today. I read a devotional today that talked about how some of the people involved in Jesus' crucifixion, the soldiers and whatnot, 50 days later, when Peter was giving a sermon, there were some of those Roman guards and people that were involved in the crucifixion that asked for forgiveness and redemption. I did not know that until today, that happened, which I thought, wow, that's a pretty incredible thing for them to be like, we did something so wrong, please forgive us. And I'd love to believe that he did. You know, just like with Judas. Judas had a purpose. Just like everybody has a Judas for a reason, because it propels you and gets you to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah,
true.
Society has some big ones right now, and people like those are hard role to play. I mean, think of the Joker and Batman. People don't hate, what's his name? He's a famous actor. Whoever he is.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Heath
Ledger.
Yeah, he is a legend, but Heath Ledger.
A legend.
Yeah, people don't hate him, and he played like an awful role, right? Like, because they're able to see that he just was playing a part that was really important to the rest of the story, and he did a really good job at it. A really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like Judas felt guilty. I guess it depends on what version of the Bible that you have. He either died by suicide or he was killed.
Oh.
I don't know. I guess it depends on what version you read. But either way, he had guilt. For sure.
Sure.
The problem that's keeping us all here. And that's what, you know, like you said, Theo was able to release that. It felt through this book so that he could be a clear vessel and to
Yeah.
receive for him and others. So,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful to Debbie. Thank you,
yeah, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Debbie at
Debbie.
Rose and Crown.
Thank you, Magical Portal called
In
Rose and
Oxford.
Crown in Oxford.
Anyone who listens to this, go to Rose and Crown on North Parade Avenue in Oxford.
Yeah.
Debbie's the owner, her and her husband. She's the one that brought us to this book. So
All right, I want you to send
I'll
us
have to
a
share
picture.
it with her.
Yeah.
Send us a picture of Rose
okay.
and Crown because I want to see
I will.
it.
I'll
now.
take my book
Yeah,
over there.
I've never
I'll
even
take my
seen it.
book and have her. I'll take a picture with Debbie and send it to you. But yeah, it is a magical, lovely place. So yeah,
You're in your
any
own
final
golden where
thoughts?
you are.
Yeah. You're in
it
your own
does
golden.
look golden in my literally. It looks golden
Yeah.
back here. I'm like, what's
your
going on
room.
with this light?
But you're making connections in Oxford in your own little
Yeah.
golden. For
It's true.
sure.
It's true. Yeah. I can. Julie of Julie of Oxford.
Yeah, Julie of Oxford.
Do it.
Yeah, I love
Start.
Joy's my book editor, writer.
Yeah. Oh my
All
gosh.
of the
Send me
above.
chapters. All of
I
them.
know. Seriously.
It's like, I'll eat them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, any
actually,
final thoughts on
maybe.
the book, ladies? Thank you so much for coming on today. We're almost at
thank
2
you.
hours.
Oh my
No,
God.
it was
No,
amazing.
It's beautiful.
Holding tight.
It was amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
for. I'm glad that I followed my instinct of sending it to Ashley
Yes.
because that's what happened. Like I said, I literally read like the first couple chapters and we had just had a conversation like 2 days before about her business. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to want to read this. I felt it like full body experience. Like, oh, I have to send this to her. And I
love
haven't
that.
done that before. Yeah.
And thank you for sending it to me because now
Yeah.
I'm going to share it with somebody and pass it
Yeah.
on too. So
Yeah.
it's been a journey, right? I love
Well,
it.
because
Quite a
it's like,
journey.
when I was like, oh my gosh, anybody who's been on Light Between Us that has to, because this is what it's about.
It is literally
the
that.
connections, and the interactions, and truly seeing one another and allowing the miracles and the light and the love to come through. And so,
Yeah.
thank you, Alan, for
Yes.
allowing yourself to be the vessel for this book to make it to where it is today, and for taking the leap and
Yes, thank you.
self-publishing it. And now it's, of course, some publishing company has it, but we are so grateful. And I think this should be in every section of the bookstore. Not even just, it could even be in the bird watching section, because Ellen takes us on
He's a
bird
bird
watching
watcher.
adventures in feather
And
collecting.
sunrise, sunset,
Yeah.
or sunset. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're
Yeah.
a bookstore and you need to know how it fits into each category, please contact me and I will let you know.
That's right. We'll give you a directory of all the places it
of
would
how
work.
that fits there. Yeah.
We are now bookstore consultants. Just
That's
let us
right.
know what you need. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Your
my
book
goodness.
store may only contain like our 3 favorite books in the world, but that's okay. You'll
okay.
be very unique.
We start from a
Boutique.
small place. Boutique.
Now that's a dream to own a bookstore or to
I
run
know.
a bookstore
Oh my god.
with a little cafe for coffee and
With
wine.
the ladder.
and-
With the ladder. I
Yes,
want the
yes.
ladder. The
I
ladder
agree.
that moves.
Joy's
You've got
gonna
those
have
all
it.
over in
Joy,
Oxford, Julie. You probably
Yeah.
have them at
Oh.
every library everywhere.
Yeah, Joy's definitely gonna have a bookstore and be the be the person who knows all the books and who's like, okay, this is what you want. Okay, I'll give you something. Let me give it to you.
And I was just gonna say, and then I would be in debt because I would be like, "Oh, another glass
Yeah,
of
you'd be
wine
like, just
on
let me give
another
it to you.
cup of
She's
coffee."
Tony.
Yeah,
Joy is Tony.
Yeah. So we should.
She's like, here you go. I want you to read this book. And
Yeah. She'll
just
just be
don't pay
going
me
out of
now.
business.
Pay me later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like he's
you're
been,
right.
but
I'll
he's
be
been going
Tony.
out of business for like ages, and he still hasn't quite closed the doors
Yeah,
yet.
that's what it will
Yeah.
be. And
Yeah.
I'll pay you, Joy. I'll pay you. I'll pay you. I'll take
we'll
your
keep the doors open. We might have to live upstairs or something. I don't know.
I'll live in I'll live in the attic or whatever.
Okay. So much love, ladies. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank you for getting together to talk about
Yeah,
this.
thank
It was so
you.
beautiful.
Yes.
It was wonderful.
This was awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
And a
Yeah.
reminder that everyone has the ability to be saintly.
Yes.
Absolutely.